Back on Open Line on a Thursday night. Let's get right back to the phone lines to Tara. Tara, thanks for holding. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to let Mr. Smallwood know that he has got a large group of people supporting the police. We're back here rooting for them, standing behind them. Just want to let them know that there are people in the community that love them and care for them, and we're here at home.
All right.
Behind you all.
Thank you, Tara.
Tara,
we
we really appreciate your support and thank you. And while we don't expect you to march down the streets, we certainly would appreciate it if you'd contact your local elected officials and let them know how much you appreciate your law enforcement officers.
All right, let's go next to Faye, who's been holding patiently as well. Hi, Faye. What's on your mind tonight?
Hi, and I do support our officers. We do have a couple of bad ones, but that doesn't matter. They'll be weeded out eventually. I just wanted to comment on the defund the police. Mm-hmm. I don't think people are really, I think people are going around saying the phrase and not knowing the meaning of it. We have to have officers to protect us. And, the only thing I want to see change is if there's another officer there and he knows that maybe his fellow officer is doing wrong, I want him to be able to step in and not fear any repercussions, because he's, trying to, just let's de-escalate this problem and stuff. I hear everybody running around here, defund the police, fire the chief. Everyone's blowing this out of proportion. I think, yes, they need better training, and that takes time. And I'm fearful now as a black woman to be out here. And I hear this stuff. Sometimes I'm sorry. I raised my children. If you have a run-in with the police, do not struggle. Do everything they tell you, and everything will work out. And thank God they have managed to grow up into intelligent men who don't have run-in with the police. But I'm not going to lie, sometimes when I hear these parents get on the, TV, oh, and he was a good boy and all this, okay, well, we have to start training our kids at home right from wrong. We have to. We have to. Every time I look around, just like the incident in Atlanta, I didn't agree with some of my people because I said, he struggled. I thought the man was wrong. Mm-hmm. And yes, I got ostracized for it, but, I have my opinion.
Right.
The worst case scenario, he was going to get a DUI, go sit in jail for a day or two. You would have came home alive. But all this defund the police, no, I respect the police. I truly do. And I'm sorry you guys have to go through it.
Let me just interject, because you said something interesting there. You said that you got ostracized. Why do you think that is? Do you think that people can't speak their minds right now unless it's a certain opinion?
Well, you're supposed to, I guess, group in with your people. And I can't agree with that all the time. I cannot.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to. But I'm going to speak my opinion on it and say, I think we're all looking at it, this way, that way. Now, everyone wants to, if the police come, what they going to do? Say, it's okay, jump out the car and run.
Right.
Sometimes your actions are what put you in that position. So think about it. That's all I'm saying. Think about it. I'm tired of saying, my child was this and that. Well, if you taught your child right, I hate to say it,
Yeah, I understand.
They wouldn't run.
Thank you, Faye. We appreciate it. James, do you have any comments?
So it sounds like Faye's been cloaked. Unfortunately, we're in a position in society that, for whatever reason, people can't have respectable differing opinions, and that's not right. We shouldn't be treating people like that. There are going to be things that we don't agree on. We're not going to see eye to eye on everything, but if we continue to have reasonable, fact-based conversations in our community, I think we can find a path forward where everybody is harmony and working together.
All right, let's go to Eric now on line 2. Hi, Eric. Welcome to Open Line, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, Eric, go ahead. What's on your mind?
Hi, James.
Oh, sorry, James. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. This is Eric. I'm trying to talk to James.
Oh, I see.
So,
I'm all confused.
I've had the Steve Anderson page reach out to me, and apparently a couple of officers want to come back to the police department. And you mentioned earlier that the morale and how certain officers were being not necessarily forced out, but forced out in a way. So my question to you, as the representative of police officers, will you support police officers who do want to come back and do want to put their names back to serve the city again, now that your two biggest drivers of morale, Deputy Chief Johnson and Chief Anderson, are out?
Well, we want any good employee or any good individual who wants to be a police officer to come back and continue to serve our community.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, James. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we welcome anybody who is a good qualified individual to be a police officer to come back and serve our city, and we would certainly support that. I would caution you to say that the only drivers of morale are two people who are no longer going to be with us here. There are a lot more factors coming into play. Certainly, pay, benefits, working conditions, and the over scrutiny of law enforcement officers, and sometimes the unfair criticisms that we deal with on a day-to-day basis also play a big part of that picture.
Before we wrap up, James, and I want to thank all of our callers tonight. We appreciate them calling in and taking part. What do you see happening, let's say, for the rest of 2020? We're already, it's hard to believe, almost halfway through this crazy year, but the rest of 2020 and beyond, now that the budget has been passed for Metro PD and just police in general throughout Middle Tennessee, what's next? How do we move forward?
2020 has been an unpredictable year, especially for Nashville. We were hit by a tornado, followed by the COVID pandemic, and on the heels of that, we've had all of the protests and some of the rioting. And really what we need to do as a community is come together and understand that we will never be successful if we stay divided. I think it's important, like I said in the beginning of the show, that we continue to have positive and fact-based, reasonable dialogue with one another so that everybody understands everybody's perspectives. And I hope that we can get things to calm down in this city, that we can get leaders to have cooler heads prevail, and that we can all come together and work together on solving the problems that we're facing. But the problem is, as things are on fire, as we're constantly trying to fix chaos and trying to find solutions to the problems, we don't have time to come together and have those conversations. So I would implore those folks in our community to give us that opportunity to have those conversations.
Right, and I was just going to ask you, we talk about we need to have these conversations, but who initiates? How do we plan it? Is it community meetings? Is it the FOP reaching out to maybe Black Lives Matter groups or other protesters, or is it the police leadership? How do we move forward?
I think it's all parties. We all have a part to play, and we all have a responsibility to ensure we're having those conversations. And certainly, I would be lying to you if I didn't say I needed to do self-reflection and that we could do better in reaching out. And we've made that commitment internally, and you'll see some things coming from us soon. Probably not very publicly, but because we don't want the attention, we want the conversation, we want solutions. But I think everybody that has a stakeholder in this process should have the same amount of responsibility to reach out and have those communications and those conversations so that we can get our society back on its feet.
James Smallwood, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us on Open Line, and we look forward to talking with you in the future. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, and with that, we'll be back to wrap things up on Open Line on this Thursday night, right after this.